Hello, this is David Wormsley. Today I was looking in at the Beaver Builder Facebook group and I spotted a question that I thought I could expand on a little in a video. Now the question itself was actually answered beautifully by community members, and I'm not going to be adding anything particularly new to that. But I thought it tied in with a wider topic about how you put columns within Beaver Builder. It's been the #1 requested thing of the Beaver Builder team, and they've been reluctant to do this because it mess up the sort of user interface and perhaps could be outputting poor code or unnecessary code, and that's a great thing. That's why I kind of like about Beaver Builder team. This is a professional tool for many of us, and we need to make sure that it's not going to turn into a bloated mess. But I think it's a bit of a dead issue now, unless I'm missing the point, because I think with shortcodes there's a way around it. We don't need columns within columns any longer. So I'm just going to go back and tell you what the question was that I saw. It was, I think the scenario was that a person had a row with 2 columns in it, and they wanted to place 2 buttons side by side in one half of the row in one of the columns underneath it here. So there's a couple of ways we could go about this. One that doesn't even need shortcodes. In fact, there's another 2. The third method might be just to add the buttons individually underneath and add through the Advanced tab, add an ID or class, and then style them with your CSS editor. But where's the fun in that? And then there's another one, I think this is correct, over at the Beaver Lodge site. John's got plugins over there, and one of them I think is for buttons side by side. So that's another way. But let me just first cover the other 2 options for this. And the first one is just using negative margins. So what I would do is I would pop over to row layouts and select 3 columns to pop underneath here. So I'm staying within the same row with some more columns underneath these existing columns. Then I would move this over to roughly position with this 50% is what I'm looking for. That will do for this demo, and this roughly 25-25. That's nowhere near, is it? Okay, well, let's go with that, and I shall pop these pre-made buttons in there, and that's what we're getting now. Of course, that's probably not what the person asking the question wanted, because there's a big space here. So we can get around this with the negative margins. All we need to do is to pop into the first column here, into edit column, column settings, and we go into advanced, and then we can add a negative margin to the top to drag this up. So all I need to do is to put in 120 pixels here, and that's moved up quite nicely. We'll save that, and once that's saved, we'll do the same again over here, edit columns, column settings, and again we need the same, so minus 120, and we've got the buttons in the right place. Now I guess anyone new to Beaver Builder working on the interface might not realize, but these empty columns here will just collapse when everything's saved. So let's just save this to see that it works okay. There, perfect. So that's solution #1, to use some negative margins. Now there's some downsides of using negative margins in many situations because you would start to lose access to your actual modules themselves, so they start to get tucked under other modules. So I think this would be safe to use it in this scenario, and it works fine. I haven't set the responsive, but we could set that so they set side by side using advanced settings on the mobile by putting them to 50-50. But otherwise, this works perfectly okay. So let's just move on with the next one, which is using shortcodes, which I think is more flexible for most scenarios. So we'll go back into our page builder, and I need to reset some of this stuff here. So let's drag the buttons back into that row. Okay, and we'll get rid of these columns that we don't need. So second method here. Right, okay, so what we've got now is we've got another row here with 2 columns in it with the 2 buttons. Now what we can do now is we can save this row as a saved template by going to Saved As. And I'm just going to call this test and save. Okay, let's just check we've got it there in our saved. Yeah, we got test. And now all we need to do is to move these saved row into this column here using shortcodes. So if shortcodes are familiar to you, you'd need to pop over to the Beaver Builder site under the knowledge base and look up shortcodes, and this will tell you more about it. But I'm going to use a slug in this case, and I've got some code pre-prepared. So what I need to do next is pop over to my basic modules, go and grab my HTML module and pop that underneath the text here. You could use, I think, a text module, but the safest one to use is HTML. And I'm pasting in my code, which is taken from the knowledge base, and it's just got my own slug of test, which I've put in for that. And if I save this, there we are. We've got them here. And of course, this is a saved row. Let me just publish that. This is a save row, so I can go in and edit it and remove some of the, because I didn't set any of these things, this isn't positioned quite as I'd like, but I can then move that by just going into the editor. In fact, I'll just do that quickly now. I don't want to go on too long with this. So if I want to change this, I can go in to my save rows and I can go over here and start editing the margins and the paddings from here and save, and it will project. So I can take that and put it anywhere else I like in the site. So yeah, I think that pretty much covers that. There are, of course, some downsides with shortcodes as well. I think in this scenario, I did test it very quickly to see the database queries that it would add to it. And I think it added about 6 more database queries than it would have done if I was just doing the same effect with negative margins. So I think, shortcodes give us a lot of power, but if we start putting too much content within content, we start building up those database queries and we start slowing down our site. So we've got that negative with shortcodes, and we've got a negative with the negative margin effect, where we can start to lose where our modules are and not understand it. But as I say, there's a couple of ways around not officially, if you like, having columns within columns. I hope that was useful. It's really just to set off some debate. So let me know what you think. Be kind if I've got it completely wrong. All right. Thanks for listening to me, and I'll talk to you again soon. Thanks. Bye-bye.